Chapter 30. I'm Miss K.
And I'm Queen T.
This is a place for those women
and men
who feel that they have no one to talk to.
We're here. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys, welcome back.
All right, so before we even start this podcast, Miss K, I gotta tell you this little story, and I'm gonna share it with the streets.
Okay.
So I'm at work the other day, right? And there's this new guy who started at my job. And he's kind of young. Like, I don't know his exact age, but I'm gonna guess maybe 20, 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm always playing music. So I'm playing a Tyrese song. How you gonna act like that?
That's my song.
Yes. So he comes through or whatever. And he started singing it. Well, he started humming it. And he's like, "Oh, I know that song." So I'm like, "What you know about that?" And he's like, "My mother."
I know it kills me with the semi throwbacks when people be acting like they're freaking.
Yes. I was like, his mother. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a classic, but I'm thinking like if somebody says their mother, I'm thinking like Al Green,
exactly,
like Marvin Gaye. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, somebody's mother put them on to Tyrese. Oh, okay. Welcome to chapter 30.
Right. Times like that make you feel a little old. Like, gosh.
For real, that was kind of like a little eye opener. Like, okay.
That happens a lot. Even when I was subbing, that would happen too. Like I was playing Ashanti, and they're like, "Miss, that throwback, that's so old school." Like again, I'm like, am I playing Marvin Gaye? Like I mean, yeah, chapter 30.
Welcome to chapter 30. Well, guys, so by now, hopefully you have heard our introduction. You've gotten a feel for who we are and what we're about and what we're doing here. So we're just gonna hop right into it. We're gonna start off with we told you we're gonna be talking about self-awareness today. So we hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's start off with talking about why we decided to start off the podcast with this particular subject. We just felt like self-awareness was just the root of everything. And without it, it's kind of like, you know what? I feel like in my 20s, I was kind of like lost in the wind. And, listen, just like felt a little bit lost. And when it comes to self-awareness and mimicking Drake right now, know yourself. There's so much power in your thoughts. There's so much what you think is what you manifest, what you dream, what you can see. It really comes to life. And what you say, all this stuff has so much to do with your life and the way that you live. So it's just kind of the beginning of who you are. You're knowing who you are is just it's just everything basically.
Yes, because without knowing yourself and like just being aware of just like toxic traits or, the good, the bad, and the ugly, without being aware of that, you cannot be successful in any place in your life. Like,
right.
It's like you need to make sure you're healthy physically, like mentally, you have to do check-ins and you have to be able to check yourself and say, nope.
Mm-hmm. And this podcast wouldn't be here if we both weren't working on being more self-aware.
Yes.
It's crazy. Yeah. And it's so crazy because after we decided that we were going to do this podcast, it's crazy how much we started seeing, how many visions we started having. And we just started being like, oh my God, like I can see this happening a year from now. I can see this happening. I see us doing this. And that just started coming up because we were being more self-aware.
Yes, and manifesting and just like knowing that what we feed our mind and like even what you feed your body, but what you feed your mind and what you say out loud, it has so much power, like more than you'll ever know. And if you can think it and you can say it and you can work on it, it can happen. Like anything is possible. Like they say, we all got the same 24 hours that Beyonce has. And I have to go a little off topic real quick just because
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's documentary just came out. I have to say, Beyonce is iconic. She is amazing and so inspiring. Like,
Yes.
she's so inspiring. And I don't know if you all watched it or, if you even plan on watching it, but it was great. It was inspiring. A lot of amazing things in that. So I just had to say that real quick.
Yeah. I mean, while we're on the topic, let me just say this. And this is coming from somebody who is not a part of the Beehive. Like, I like Beyonce, I like her music, but I am not a super fan. I watched it and I became so motivated and inspired just by seeing how hard of a worker she is, how
Mm,
she um she has a vision, she has a dream, and her ability to communicate that to others, and to get it done, you know what I mean, to have 200 people on stage
right.
and to have all those little different moving pieces, and for it to just come together the way that it did is just masterful, and she does that all the time.
Yes.
So it's not like, you know what I mean, that's not normal.
It's
That's
She's in her own lane, and like just like how she always ties like black history, our history, just so much like magical things. Like she makes it she lets the magic be known, and
right.
this like gives you that extra boost of pride. Like, even though I'm a proud black woman, like, I don't know, anytime I watch anything that she does and I just hear like her thoughts and the she just makes like the world see our magic. I forgot what they said in there, but they
Wow.
that in the documentary. I didn't write it down, so I don't know it offhand, but it's just we're magic, and she lets it be known. She's amazing, so gotta give her props on that.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I was super inspired by that. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
just her ability to articulate the words, her when you are a creative person, sometimes it's not easy to, you know what, there's a part in there where she was saying you could feel the vibe on stage,
Right.
but it's not being shown, you know what I mean, you can't
Right.
see it.
Right.
And when sometimes it's really hard to get out what you're feeling, or to have other people be able to feel the same thing, you know what I mean.
Yes.
So to have millions of people across the world
Mm-hmm.
see what she saw already is
Yep.
masterful,
She goes down
masterful. So
his
I give her
book.
props.
She's in her own lane. Like, I gotta give it up to
Hmm.
her. I love her.
Yes. So if we're talking about self-awareness, that listen, that's that the main person that you should be looking at right now, like
Right.
super self-aware, knows what she wants and knows how to articulate it.
Yep.
Like, I'll give it to her.
Right.
So yeah, so that's why we decided to start with this topic, because it's the beginning of everything, and it's why we're here today. And it's the first step. It's the first step to taking control of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, when I was in my 20s, I felt like I was kind of lost in the wind. So how do you kind of find your way back? And it starts with yourself. It starts with realizing who you are as a person and asking yourself questions, asking yourself, hey, why am I like that? Do I do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? When do I do that? What triggers me to do that? And once you start being able to get answers to those questions, you'll start finding your way back to who you are.
And that's so true. Finding your way back to yourself is like the most important journey that you'll take. Like, that's home. Like, you have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that everything is all right there. And you know what? It reminds me of this meme that I have on my phone. I love memes.
Love me.
Yes, their life. So I want to bring it up. Okay. It says, there are parts of you that want the sadness. Find them out. Ask them why.
Mm,
I look at that all the time and I just get shivers, and it's just like it's so real. Like, oftentimes, like, we not for everybody, but for some of us, there's things that we that happen in our life that are not always good. And sometimes we're attracting those things, or
mm,
sometimes, and it's like, hold up, and you have to have some accountability and say, wait, why is this happening, why is this attracted to
mm-hmm.
me, like, you have to take some ownership. And it's not always, but sometimes there are parts of you that are welcoming these things that you don't necessarily need in your life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is that toxic person, or behavior or whatever so comfortable around you.
Mm-hmm. And I think asking that question is also important to kind of stop that slippery slope.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not always just about getting an answer. Sometimes it's just being able to get a distraction.
exactly.
So once you realize, like, so once you might get to the point where it's not even asking a question anymore, and it's just like an automatic switch that stops you from going to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that, it's kind of like, okay, we're talking about being attracted to the sadness. And you can kind of get pulled into that rabbit hole, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And kind of get stuck there. And that question, why am I doing this? Why am I attracted to it? It kind of stops it. It halts it.
exactly.
And then
And like you
now
said,
you're focused on something else.
exactly, exactly. And like you said, even if you don't get the answer, at least you're stopping it. Because don't get me wrong, some of us we're prone to thinking negative. Some of us we're prone to thinking positive. So if you just happen to be that person that is attracted to sadness and being blue, or and I'm not talking about if you're depressed or clinically depressed. I'm not speaking on that. I'm speaking more so on just people that kind of attract towards sadness. There's a
Hmm.
just trying to draw it. Um,
And it could just be an instance. It doesn't have to be,
exactly,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it could just be like one situation.
exactly. And
Hmm.
if you can't get the answer, like you said, as long as if you can just hold it, you can redirect because redirecting is
Right.
everything. So even if you can
Right.
just redirect, then that's self awareness. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. We have to think of our minds as muscles. Like
mm-hmm.
they can be trained and retrained. Ooh. Okay. So that makes me think of this book that I read. And when I tell you, I suggest and recommend this book to everybody that's listening right now. It is a life changer. And we were talking about how your mind is a muscle and it needs training and retraining. This book is called The Four Agreements.
And I still have to read it.
Oh my gosh, like it's kind of a slow starter, you know what I mean? But once you get into it and you start realizing the truth behind it, it's just crazy, like seriously. Um and I'm very bad at paraphrasing stuff, but essentially what it's talking about is the agreements that we made in life. So, for example, if somebody calls you, let's say, for example, somebody calls me stupid and it makes me feel some type of way, like I feel sad about it. Um, that means at some point in my life, I made that agreement. I made that agreement with myself that I am stupid. And that's why when somebody says it to me, it makes me feel some type of way because what they're saying, I feel like it's true.
Mm.
So what this book is telling you is that you have to get to a point where you are realizing that you've made these agreements. And that's a kind of a hard part too, because sometimes we don't even realize the stuff that what we're doing. You know what I
Right.
mean? We don't realize how we're thinking,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole whole part of self-awareness that we're talking about now. But so once you realize like, okay, I made this agreement and this agreement is not working for me, then I need to realize how I can stop this. So, you know what I mean? You got to tell yourself, you have to speak positive words to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you made the agreement that you're stupid and you feel that way and people call you stupid and you're like, oh my God, what they're saying is true and it makes you upset, then you need to tell yourself that you're smart. You know you're smart and tell yourself the reasons why you're smart. Okay. You can have a PhD and still think you're stupid. You know what I mean? So remind yourself, hey, I have a PhD. Or remind yourself, I got this award of excellence, you know what I mean, when I was in middle school. Who knows what it was? But you have to speak these kind words to yourself to break those agreements that you made with yourself.
Mm.
And then once you do that, that word is not going to bother you anymore. Once it works, um, it may take some time, it may take some effort, it may take a week, 2 weeks, a year. But if you continue to do it, that word stupid is going to have less and less and less power over how you feel, because now, because I've been telling myself I'm so smart for the past year, you call me stupid, it's not going to affect me in any way.
That's really true. That's really true.
And there's a lot more, like it's the 4 agreements. I think what I talked about was just one of the
Uh-huh.
agreements, but it goes. I'm gonna have to reread it, and then maybe talk about it again on another episode. But it's really deep. Like it's really, really deep.
Hmm. I definitely have to read it because whenever you talk about it, I'm just like drawn in. Like it sounds amazing. So,
Yes.
I'll be reading it, guys. So maybe you should check it out too, and we can all just talk about it.
Yes, I want to do a podcast episode about it where we do like everybody reads it and then we just talk about it.
Like a little book club.
Yes.
We both love to read, guys. I know it's a dying habit or whatever you want to call it, but we like to read a lot.
And that kind of reminds me, on the Facebook when you get those memories, and I used to write a lot on there. I used to have a hashtag Queen T says, by the way. And on there, I wrote a post and it says, your life has already been planned, intricately designed. What is there to fear? Why worry? What is going to happen will happen, and the only thing you have control over is the way that you react to those situations. The situation is not the problem, your reactions are. Take ownership, remain aware of yourself, and you will begin to notice a shift in your environment. This I can promise you.
Mm.
So basically, we only have control over us. We
Mm.
don't have control over anything else. And the more you try to grab that tight hold over everything else, like the more you're gonna feel lost.
Right.
um, hmm?
And powerless too.
Yes, yes, that's a big one. Um, so once you realize that the only thing that you have control over is you, yourself, and your reactions, that's when you'll notice a huge shift in just the way that you feel about your own life. Like, okay, somebody says something that I don't like. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I don't like it, that means that there's something about me that I need to change. You know what I mean?
Mm.
There's a lot of times that we point fingers or blame other people. Yes, there are people in the world who are inconsiderate. Yes, there are people who are just mean and nasty. Um, but just try to find a way to, okay, how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Because you can't change other people. You can't make that person be nice. You can't make that person be kind. The only thing you can do is try to work on yourself, and hopefully that energy or that positivity will inspire somebody else.
That's true. That's true. And that's going to take you a long way because in this world, we have to, interact with people at work, school, like wherever you are, your family, you're always going to have to interact with people. But if the most important relationship in your life after God, depending on how you place the order, but some people go God then self, some go self then God. But however you want to put it, if one of the most important relationships, which is self to self, if that's strong and solid and you may spend you're going to spend your whole life on that journey and it's going to have its ups and downs, but as long as you're aware, self,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a beautiful thing as long as you're just aware and you know that you have to do the maintenance on that relationship.
Ooh, maintenance. I like that word.
Right. And
I like that word.
right, me too. Self maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
It goes beyond a manny and a party, I'll tell you that much.
Yes, yes, yes.
uh,
And it's not always easy.
no, it's not. Self-care, self
Yeah.
self-care go hand in hand because sometimes like you'll have to take a mental health day from work, or you'll have to not go out with your friends that night, or you'll have to just take a nap. Like there's just certain self-care.
Stay off of social media for a day.
Exactly. Exactly. There's just certain
Mm-hmm.
things that you'll have to do. And once you become self-aware, you'll know when the burnout is about to come. And you're like, I need some me time, or oh, maybe I need some we time, or I need some, whatever it is, like you'll be aware and you'll know, and you'll thank yourself for it, for real.
Yeah, it's for sure.
And there's a Whitney Houston quote that I love.
Oh, Mama Whitney.
Yes. And it's, you can't run from yourself. There's nowhere to hide. And I love that quote because I think there's so many people that are running from themselves and they don't even know
Mm,
it. Whether
mm,
they're doing drugs, whether they're just always around other people, or whether they're just in denial about their past, future, or present, like whatever it is. I feel like one thing a lot of us do, we run from ourselves. There's just certain things that we don't want to face, trauma,
mm,
pain, and we just run from ourselves. But look, there is nowhere to hide. You
mm.
run, you right there. You turn that corner up, you right there. Like you cannot. You're always there. So
Yes.
take care of you. Whether you need to go to therapy, whether you need to talk to somebody, whether you need to meditate, pray, sage, whatever you need to do to get right, babe. Because you're always gonna be there, like always.
Yes. And I feel like that fear of ourselves, like it's so mental. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like we block ourselves from so much.
Yes.
And if we just was just like, okay, you know what? Forget it. Let me just jump into it. It may not even be as bad. You know what I mean? It's almost like you just said this a few minutes ago. What's the worst that could happen?
Right.
You know, and sometimes we just build this catastrophe up
uh,
in our minds,
that part.
and it's like, you know what, it's not, don't worry, it's not going to be that bad. You still here, you know what I mean? You already went through it, so what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
You know what I mean? You could feel like you're reliving it or whatever, but it happened already and you went through it, and you're still here, you're still good.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to learn how to also talk ourselves down from the ledge. Like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. You're good. You're a queen. You're a king. You know what I mean? And be able to, the same support that we give to our friends and our family, you have to put that into yourself as well.
So true. It's the most important
Hmm.
relationship that you'll have. And what you mentioned about social media is really true because a lot of the self awareness maintenance has to happen just based on like the damage that social media does. Oh, he has this, she has that, she looks like this. Like, and if I was just saying this to someone the other day, like you got to be real mindful of who you follow,
Yes.
what you're putting in because if don't get me wrong, there's some people that can look at celebrities and Diddy and what he has and this person and what they have and just look at it and that's just that. But there are a lot of people in this world who do not know how to distinguish what someone else has, what they have, what's for them, what's for they don't know how to, and they just get so like caught up in it, and they get angry and resentful.
Yeah.
So you got to be mindful of that too and say, you know what? I don't want to follow a lot of celebrities. Or you know what? I do
Right.
because it inspires me. It makes me want to work harder. Or you know what? I want to follow a lot of things on meditation. Or you know what? I want to focus more on diet. Like whatever you need to feed yourself at the moment, feed yourself at because social media is going to contribute, especially if you're on there every day. We mindlessly scroll
Hmm.
and we just taking it in. So be very careful of what you're consuming.
Yes, that's so true. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, if everybody follows, I don't want to call out a name, but if everybody follows this one celebrity and this one celebrity brings out a trait in you that you don't like, it's okay.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's okay to not follow that celebrity. Like,
Right.
you have to worry about you first. Like, let's say, for example, I'm just going to throw out jealousy. It's really easy to get on to these social media. Okay, this is a whole nother podcast, but it's okay. It's okay, like for real. I'm not gonna go deep into it, but like Corinne said, we're scrolling through these pages and we see a lot. We're fed a lot of information, and it goes with reading books and
Mm-hmm.
watching TV. What you read,
Music.
what you music, exactly. All of that is very important. You have to watch all the stuff that you're feeding your brain because it affects how you think.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to be more positive, then you need to follow social media accounts that are positive. Um, if you want to be in the strip club, then maybe you could follow Cardi B. Like whatever makes you
Like,
happy.
yeah, for real. Like it doesn't have to all be peaches and cream and positivity. Like whatever you want your life to be about, hey, go for it. I hope you safe. I hope you good. But like you said, if you want to be a stripper, then follow them strippers. Follow the
Right.
best ones.
And trust me, that was not shade. Like
No
I'm
shade.
being real.
No shade because this is real life. Like let's just be real. Like every day's not going to be a good day. Everything that you see isn't going to be like the most positive thing and it's going to be feeding you so well. We're just saying be mindful. If you can take anything from this podcast today or tonight, whenever you're listening to it, it should be mindfulness. Like we preach that because it's just so important. And when you really think about it and you really just consider like the place that it has in your life, like you'll see like, sheesh, like I gotta be more mindful. Like you mentioned before, like the things that we say to ourselves, the things we agree to, like, oh, I'm so stupid, or oh, like, no, you're not stupid, or oh, like I look fat, like, or oh, like, you know, like the little negative things we say, sometimes we're not mindful enough to know, like those things, they go in your brain, like that's
it's powerful.
Powerful. Thank you.
Yeah,
couldn't find a word.
It's true. And like you said before, like sometimes we're just scrolling through and sometimes we become very passive and we're not even thinking that the stuff that we're looking at or watching or listening to is doing anything.
Right.
You know, but it's an action, it's doing something. So like Miss K said, be mindful. Like everything that you are taking in has some type of effect on you. So at least let it be the effect that you want.
Right. Whatever it is that you want. And you know what, T, that reminds me of something I read about just considering for a moment, it's a meme, considering for a moment, like the things that you call your personality, like what if it's actually behavioral patterns that you develop to cope with trauma, or like, is it your personality or is it like a defense mechanism? Outside of your pain, who would you be if you stopped living life as a product of what happened to you? You know, like, and that even goes to bring back with like music and things we listen to. Like, do I really think of women that way? Do I really think of men that way? Or is name a rapper, girl? You know, I don't know these rappers. Or
I'm sorry, but the first rapper that came to my mind was DMX.
Yo, chapter 30. You gotta think of somebody more current, like
Lil Yachty. Is that a person?
There you go. Do I think a woman that way, or is Lil Yachty, you know, in my mind right now?
Oh my God, I feel like we're gonna sound like old
we
people.
We not old. We lit a little bit, y'all.
Oh my God. Let's use Kodak Black. I feel like he's current.
Like, you know, do I look at women that way, or, you know, is it because I listened to Kodak Black for 10 hours last night? Like music really plays an effect, movies, music, all that, and how we treat each other. So sometimes it's just taking a minute to be self-aware, be mindful of what are my thoughts on women? Like, do I want a relationship? Do I want to be, you know, with her? Like, just being more aware of your actual thoughts and not what you've been being fed for years and years and years by your friends. And that. Like, just taking a minute to kind of step out. You can step back in, but just step out sometimes.
Right, exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Right.
It's easy to, especially because this music now is, I won't say this music, I won't talk about the music now. What I'll say is society, just everybody listens to the same thing. You know what I mean? Like there's a few people who kind of step aside and, you know, might be listening to jazz or whatever. But there's always that pop culture. There's always that that hip hop or whatever it is, R&B that's current that everybody listens to.
And it sets the tone.
And it sets the tone. Yes, perfect. So, you know, just there's nothing. We're not saying that there's anything wrong with listening to it or being a part of that culture. Like there's a reason why it's the culture.
Right.
But just take a minute to be like, okay, is this what I like? Do I like this? Is this me? You know what I mean? Is this reflecting who I am as a person? And then if it is, then jump right back into it. If it's not, maybe you need to weed yourself off a little bit and try listening to something else.
Right.
Or watching something else.
Exactly.
You know?
Because there's sheep culture too, and that goes across the board. sheep culture, like when you're just like
Yes.
you're just following the masses, like you don't have a personality.
Yes.
You're just you're just a replica of what's going on around you. And like you're more than that. You're a person. God created you for a purpose. Like you have your
Yes.
own reason of being here. So be you, babe. Like whatever that is, like be and do you. And if you don't know who that is, there you go. Step away,
Mm-hmm.
reevaluate, be mindful, be self-aware, and I bet you'll find something so special there. Like
That reminds me of this meme. I really wish I took a screenshot. Let me see if I took a screenshot
memes life, guys.
because, like, seriously. And no, I didn't, of course. But it says something about imagine yourself being the best possible version of yourself,
Mm,
and then be that person.
that part. T, I'm looking right now at something. It says it's from Pharrell Williams. It's a meme. It says you're already that person. Just put yourself in that place.
Oof, yes. And you know what? We get so caught up in how's this gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Or if I do this, what's gonna happen? Or that might not happen because of this. Like that does not matter. Do you know what happened when Miss K and I decided that we were gonna do this podcast? You know how people came out of the woodworks and was like, oh, you should try this app. Like this app really
Mm-hmm.
works. Or you know what I mean? Oh, did you try this microphone? Like, why don't you try this?
Yep.
Or check out this website. Things happen. Things will fall onto your lap.
Yes.
If you just make the decision and start working towards it, you don't have to have the whole plan. And I think that's where we kind of get scared and we let our fear kind of block us from
Right.
what we want to do, because we see this dream, we see this vision, we could see ourselves doing this, but it's like, how do I get there? It seems so far away. Don't worry about that. Just worry about the first step. All you gotta do is take the first step,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll be guided the rest of the way. I promise you.
That part. And you know what? You reminded me of a Martin Luther King quote. Faith.
Come through.
I love quotes and memes, guys. I'm so sorry, but faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Like,
Yes, yes.
we going in and we going in on so many different topics, but it all relates, and you guys will see like that everything that we're gonna speak on with each episode is gonna always overlap because that's just life, you know. Like everything
Yeah.
kind of flows into the other, but it relates.
And that has so much to do also, like you said, you don't have to see the whole staircase.
Mm,
You have to remain present.
mm,
You have to be in the moment. If you're always focusing on getting to the top, not getting to the top, but if you're focusing on, just being at the top and you're not seeing the steps to get there,
mm.
or realizing this is the step that I'm on right now,
Right,
you know what I mean? It's always going to seem so far away.
right.
Or if you're looking back on the steps that you've already climbed, um, and there's nothing wrong with visiting those places from time to time, but you have to be in the moment. You have to be present. You have to know what's going on in your life right now. You have to know how you're feeling. Like, just take a 2 seconds to hear your own heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like, you're here,
Right.
you're living right now. Appreciate. Look around your room.
Mm-hmm.
Look down at your beautiful melanin skin or non-melanated
Right.
skin, and, and just appreciate the things around you, because it's impossible. It's impossible to feel sad. It's impossible to feel angry, upset, hurt, and grateful at the same time.
Mm.
It's impossible. So just take that time to, if you ever feel upset, angry, hurt, whatever, take 2 seconds, take a breath, and think of something that you're grateful for.
Right.
I bet you it'll go away.
That's a really good point. And something else I recommend, definitely like what T just said about just being grateful, being mindful, just being in the moment, being present.
Yes.
I have to admit it's something that I work on every day, like just to be mindful and present and just to sometimes like just take a minute to just be thankful for what I have and how far I've come. Like that has so much to do with self-awareness and mindfulness. I totally agree.
Yes. And I feel like we've been talking a lot about it, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like, okay, You're telling us to be more self-aware. You're telling us about, being mindful. Like, how do you do that? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What steps do you take to become more self-aware?
Right.
Um, I'll speak about myself personally. Some things that have helped me, and I know there's other things that work as well that just I have the attention span of a gnat. So like, for example, journaling is one, but I just I write, but I have to be in the zone to write. So it's like if I'm watching my late twins videos, I'm just not gonna write. Like but some things that have helped me in the past was like taking personality tests. I'm if you know me, I'm very big on the zodiac, and it's different from the horoscope. Horoscopes are different. I'm not a big fan of the horoscopes. So for example, I'm a Libra and I look up Libra traits. It's not necessarily saying, okay, I'm a Libra, this is how I am, this is how I'm always going to be. No, it's more like looking at these traits and saying, hey, okay, is this the trait that I have? Is it a trait that I like? Um, Maybe it could be known as a negative trait, maybe something that I feel like I need to work on. So it's more just using it as an example, to kind of look at yourself and what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of assess yourself
Mm.
and see, okay, it's kind of like a starting point. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you don't have to go by it and be like, oh my gosh, I know there's a lot of people who dislike the zodiac because they don't like being compared to other people. They don't like feeling like um they're in a box. And I understand that. So you don't have to use it as like this is who I am, because every single person is different. But if you're looking for a place to start on how to become more self-aware, that's what worked for me, was just looking at these traits of what is supposed to be a Libra, and trying to kind of, like I said before, assess if it was me or if I had similar traits, and kind of looking at myself and being like, okay, this is a trait that I don't like and I want to work on it.
Right. And to kind of add on that, like you're definitely into that and you teach me a lot about it. Like that's one of your big interests. And it's really interesting to me as well, but you're real knowledgeable on it. But to add on it, what you said was really true. Like some people they kind of get a trait, oh, okay, stubborn, and they kind of run with it. Or
Yes.
I use it as, well, I'm this, so I'm gonna be mean, I'm stubborn, I'm freaky, like, and it's just like, no one's saying that you have to have that whole list. Again, be
Right.
aware and say, I'm not really like that. I'm not really sensitive, but okay, I am like that. So again, it's about being mindful. If you are into that and you do agree with that, take a look at it and don't think you have to take the whole list and live your life by it.
Right.
Be real with yourself, because again, you you can't really just make up I mean, I won't say you can't make up your personality, because I don't know, the question is, can you make up your personality, or is that something that you're born with, or I don't know, I guess that's the question that I'm putting out there to
That's
you.
a good question.
Do we make up our personality, or is it like that meme said, is it
What do you guys think?
right, is it things
That's a great question.
come from our past that add to it, or are who we are, you know?
Mm. So, besides the zodiac, a few other ways that you can become more self-aware. Like I said before, you can take some personality tests. You can literally just go on Google, type in personality tests, and there's tons of them on there. Um, you can ask for feedback from your coworkers, your boss, your family, your friends, and open, honest feedback. You know, you can journal, which is basically just a diary writing about your day, however you're feeling at the moment. That's also going to help you to be more present, because you really have to like think about right now. You know what I mean? How I'm feeling right now. Meditation is a really, really good one. Whenever I meditate, I get super inspired. Like I get random, just like thoughts and ideas that just pop up to me, and I just have to write them down right away.
Right.
Um, Self reflection. I do this a lot as well. Like I'll go through my day, usually at work, and I'll be like, okay, I could have been nicer to that person. um,
That's being mindful. That's important.
yeah. And
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And then the last one is really listening to the words that you say, inwardly and outwardly. Like really listen to what you tell yourself. And if it's something that you don't want to be said to you, correct yourself. I know Kay and I do this to each other all the time. As we're talking, we'll be like, we'll be in the middle of a sentence and we'll just be like, nope, we're not even gonna go there. Like, not even gonna say that. And that shows our growth. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows that okay, we know that this is not how we want to think or the words that we want to say, and it's okay. We'll just hashtag moving along.
Exactly. And to go off of that, like the hashtag moving along, it's something that we say all the time. Like, nope, moving right along. It's like not feeding into the negativity. Because again, just because we're saying this doesn't mean that, speaking for myself, I'm not the most positive, self-aware person in the world. Like, no, I'm a huge work in progress. So every day I have to redirect myself. And every day I'm working on myself. I'm the best project I've ever worked on thus
You
far.
better say that.
Love it. Like, and especially since I've turned 30, it's been a real big goal of mine to just work on me on every level, mentally, physically, emotionally, like spiritually, like every level. Like
Yeah.
I want to just be better and just be the best version of myself. And I also want to say that with meditating, like I totally agree with you about feeling inspired. Like if you like Google a list of like benefits that come with meditating, you'll see like it's so important. And there's different ways to meditate. You don't have to do it very long. It could be a minute, it could be 2 minutes, it could be in the shower,
Right.
it could be on your commute to work. But it is important to unplug and just kind of woosah. Like even if it's a 2 second like woosah, like I'll even do that.
Mhm.
Like whew, woosah. Just
Right.
direct
Yeah.
real quick.
True.
So it doesn't have to be long because I'm not gonna lie. I try to meditate like every day, and I try to do it for at least 5 to 8 minutes. And it's, as a new person, trying to build a habit, or as a person that's trying to build a new habit, should I say, I would get distracted. Like I hear a noise,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of redirecting, but you just get better and better, and the benefits are just amazing. So I definitely suggest that. Also, vision boards are important
Yeah.
for some. Some people like to do a list of things they want to achieve within. I'd say do something that's like countable, like something that's measurable, should I say. You could do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Like you could count it that way, or you could do a whole vision board for the year, like however you want to do it. We're all different. These are just tips and things that we've tried, but whatever that works for you, go for it. And if you have other things that we're not mentioning, let us know because
Yes.
I'd be interested in doing them. Music. I like to listen to like the rain falling, walk by the water. Like I just like to. It sounds corny, but just become one with myself.
Yes.
Like to just get just get to my core and just reevaluate, reassess, and just see like okay, do I like what's going on? Like what can I change? Like you said, you'll have those moments during your day. It's really important to hold yourself accountable.
Yes, I agree. And for those who um do believe in a higher power, prayer,
Yes.
that
We
is
forget that.
yeah, I know. That is probably on the top of my list. That kind of sets the tone for the day and also kind of brings me down at night. So,
I'm sure. So beautiful.
um if you do believe in a higher power, just
Right.
don't forget to um to pray.
He'll get you right if you believe in him. If that's your belief or whoever you believe in,
Right,
connect
exactly.
however you connect. One thing I wanted to mention as well, when you said feedback from others, that's really important. And if you get feedback from the right person, it'll be so beneficial. But keep in mind, there are some people that don't mean you well. So they may say something that is just totally, not beneficial or healthy to you. But then also there's people that are giving you criticism that you may need to take. So if you're gonna ask for it, be open to it. Be open to know like, is this healthy? Is this real? Is this shade? Like what is this? Is this coming from love?
Right.
Or just be open. Like if someone is like, look, you have an attitude problem. You
Hmm.
can't I didn't want to hear that and go to the next person. They like, girl, you sweet. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. You
Right.
gotta be open to um you got to be open to whatever it is, especially if it's coming from a healthy place. But keep in mind, there are people around us who are shady or who are not going to say things that really pertain to us, or like, it's just, you kind of got to pick through the weeds and find out the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to I think you should be able to realize that by the energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? What the person is saying may not be a quote unquote good thing. It may not be a good trait, but if their energy comes off as good, then okay, this person, they may be telling me I have an attitude problem, but they're coming off as in a constructive way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's easier than other times.
Right. Because I
But
think some people just, they don't know how to take constructive criticism. They only want to hear good things. And I think some people don't know how to give constructive criticism. So,
that's a good point. Yeah,
like, some people like to just be negative,
that's a good point.
give negativity. So that's when you got to be like, nope, bye.
Hmm.
But
And
other,
then also, that's this is gonna become part of being mindful as well, because then we have to be like, okay, is this person actually being negative,
right.
or is what they're saying just really true?
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So you getting that feedback is not a passive thing. Like, I'm going to get this feedback and that's it. Nope. You have to be real mindful of the feedback that you're getting and filter it out.
Hmm. Basically, all the questions that we just asked just now, all the points that we brought up,
Hmm.
those are the things that you should be asking yourself.
Yeah. So
It's
true.
work. That all of that is work. We just brought up
Uh,
for like maybe 5, 6, 7 topics just now,
I know.
off of one thing, off of feedback. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So that's just one part of it. All of this, like, if you are really looking to be more self-aware, it's work.
It is work, but it's great work and it's
It
worth. You're worth it.
definitely, definitely. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, was there a moment in your life where you realized, I'm not as self-aware as I'd like to be? Like, what was that moment?
T, honestly, that moment was last year,
Really?
2018. Again, like, I I know I said when I turned 30 there was a switch. So there was a switch, but again, it's a continuous journey. And last year, towards the end of the year, I was just like, who am I? What's going on?
Mm-mm.
Like, I just felt like I was being a bit passive in my life, and I wasn't being present. I wasn't being mindful. I wasn't living my best life. Like,
Yeah.
I was just accepting things that I shouldn't have accepted. I needed to clean out the house. I needed to clean up.
Yeah.
I needed to just get right. And I can say I'm still on that journey. And again, it's like a lifelong journey, at least for me. And it's going well. Like, it's like I can see clear now that the rain is gone.
Yes, I love that. That is one of my favorite lyrics. Oh.
Right? I can see clear. Start singing. But yeah. Girl,
I
how about
totally
you?
understand. I
Same
understand.
question for you.
Um, okay, well, you know this. Everybody doesn't know this, but I am super obsessed with Lay Twins.
Hmm.
So a couple of months ago, I kind of got into I was down. You know what I mean? We have ups and downs in our lives, and I was in a down. And I was just sitting at home and I was watching YouTube, and I came across these guys called Lay Twins, and something about them just drew me in. And once I realized that these dudes were the same age as me, they were 30 years old, and I saw how much that they had accomplished. And this kind of goes with what Miss K was talking about earlier with being on social media and knowing how what you're following, how it's affecting you. You know what I mean? It could be a good or a bad thing. Me watching these guys inspired me so much because I'm like, yo, they're the same age as me. I could have thought about that in a way like, dang, they're 30. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, But the way that they touched me was just like they have done so much in 30 years, and it's all because of their mindset. Like the way that they were talking, I saw how passionate they were about what they were doing and how much work and effort that they put into what they wanted to do. And after that, I was just like, okay, I had already been kind of taking steps to change my mindset, but that watching that was just like boom, like I need to really get on it. And I will say maybe a year before I even watched that, I watched this video called, what is the name of that video? I wrote it down. Hold on, bear with me. I'm gonna cut this out. Okay, it's called Law of Attraction.
Mm.
And this is okay. So, Law of Attraction and the Law of Attraction is a movie or a documentary, and the Four Agreements are a book. Is a book. That those two things, when I tell you, are life changing. The Law of Attraction. I'm just gonna give you. We about to go into an hour right now, so I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna give you a really, really brief synopsis. Like it's just basically saying that everything that we've been saying, what you think you can achieve, like anything that you put your mind to can happen. Like you can't let your fears or anybody else's fears stop you. Like if you can what is it, if you can think it you can hold it, something like that.
That part.
So yeah, I already kind of had that seed planted in my mind just from watching that movie and reading that book. It's just kind of like I just needed something else to kind of just push me there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the twins. I was watching the twins. That was just like, okay, you know what? I have the knowledge, but now I need to just put in the work. And that's what happened. Like I was just like, okay, I'm going in and I'm not playing. And then maybe a month or two after that, Miss K and I started working on the podcast.
That's beautiful. That just goes to show you that you can find positivity in others' success or just their work ethic. Beyonce, as we mentioned, or some people can look at Obama and be like, you know what, like, or whoever it is, you can find a lot of motivation. So that's a beautiful thing.
And it's never too late. It's never too late. Like, do not stop dreaming. Like, I know there's expectations in this world where people are like, oh, well, you're 30 now. You know what I mean? You don't have that. You don't have that. You didn't do this. It's okay. You can be 30 years old and be inspired by a 2-year old. Just you just have to be open to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And don't let other people's expectations or boundaries or limits limit you. Because you never know. You never know when that light switch is going to hit on. You just got to be
Mm-hmm.
ready for it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Other people's limits. Don't let that limit you. Like,
Ooh, that's, I was a good. I got a whole topic for that one.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I feel like we've been all over, but I think it all connects. It's a beautiful thing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast.
I hope so too.
I did. It was fun.
I had so much fun. Hopefully, you guys will kind of understand the way that Kay and I talk
I
because
was just thinking because one, I talk really fast. So if you're like, what the heck? I am so sorry. I'm trying to be mindful of talking slow. But again, like I told you before, the podcast is a work in progress and we have big plans for it. So it's going to start off one way, but by like episode 5, 10, and 30, you're going to be like, whoa, they leveled up. So,
right. And also, like sometimes we'll go from A to C to D, and then we'll come back
yeah.
to B, and then we'll go to F. But
Yeah.
just know that it all makes sense. It's all a part of
Right.
the plan, kind
It's
of.
a lot. So it ain't for everybody. If you listen to a few of our podcasts and you just like, I'm just confused.
Right, they're all over the place.
All in place. I apologize, but I feel like there's some people that will be um it'll be entertaining, it'll be interesting, and maybe they think like that too. But yes, we do go from A to C to B. We go all over, but like I always tell T, we always come back.
Always come back. Always.
So I want to say one last thing. Of course, it's a meme, and it says, "It's okay. You just forgot who you are for a second. Welcome back."
Yes.
I
Oh,
love it. Thank you guys. We enjoyed this so much.
Thank
so much
you.
for listening. Please share this, like this, let everybody know about us, and come back again. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
And don't forget to follow all of our social media platforms linked below. And remember, peace, love, and perspective.